Okay, back to the goals. Improve our practice with liberating structures, which is something that some people have a hard time finding places and spaces to practice. And also find new possibilities with liberating structures. Sometimes we look one structure from a different perspective. So we always learn while we practice. And the other goal is to connect people practicing. So people are in different places, but they can get connected. And lots of people after this kind of calls, they start getting a personal connection and start bouncing ideas back and forth. So this is the idea for this practice. And today we'll be doing a deep focus on invitations. So all the structures, they start with an invitation. And there are some things or there are some details that we discovered along the time in the practice that we'll be sharing with you. And probably you have at the end like a toolkit to work on your invitations easily. So agenda, we are just finishing this welcome and orientation, the housekeeping. We'll be doing impromptu networking. And then we'll show you quickly, like in 5 minutes, our findings, and I'll give you the link for the document for you to follow. And then we'll be crafting invitations together. And then we'll be sharing what we got as groups, and then we close. So it's really fast. Anything else, Carolina, from the orientation flight plan?
I think it's...
So just raise your hand who is here for the first time, just for me to double check. Okay, 4 and 4. So impromptu networking, Carolina. Let's get these people talking and sharing.
Yeah, the best way to start is to connecting among ourselves. So the impromptu networking, I put in the chat, so we use the chat for instructions. If you can leave it open, it's good. So the impromptu networking, it's rapidly share challenges and expectations. This is the purpose. And this is what we are gonna do to start building these new connections among us. And the questions that you're gonna talk about is, how did you come across liberating structures? And what do you hope to get from and give to this group? So you're gonna be in pairs for 4 minutes in 3 rounds. So we are gonna meet 3 different people in this room. And the questions remain the same.
And if you don't know, when you go to the breakout, the chat goes with you. So if you open the chat again, all the information is still there for you. Okay, here we go.
Hello.
Back in the main room.
Yes, I'm back.
People will be here in a couple seconds. Yep. Okay. Deep breath and get ready for your next round with a new person. 4 more minutes. See you in a bit.
Another round, the last one.
Yeah.
I'm meeting
Deep breath.
People here.
Yeah. Carolina told me once that it's good to have a breath between the rounds, otherwise it's too much. So, and here we go again. Last round. Back in the main room. Le Bars. Is it French?
It is, yeah. It's French.
Where are you in?
I'm in Vancouver at the moment, but I'm Swiss, French-speaking Swiss, so makes sense.
Oh, nice.
Here we
I
are.
know many languages. Here we are. 3 different people, same questions, different conversations, right? There is one phrase from Keith that I like. It's always the same and it's always different. We don't have to change the structure to make it different. Nice. Let me launch up over here just to know your familiarity and engagement with liberating structures, just to have a sense. If you have any suggestion to add to this poll, we have been increasing the options. If you do not fit in any of these categories, let us know and we can add for the next one. One more person, and here we go. Okay, these are the results. Not much knowledge, but some practice. And some people are curious, what are liberating structures? Okay. It helps us to guide the presentation. We can give a little more emphasis in some stuff. So let me share, I'll put the link in the chat. So if you want to open the slides on your side, it helps, but I'll also share the screen just to get in the recording. So make yourself comfortable.
Maybe just a brief what liberating structure is. I saw two people don't know. Maybe we can go over very briefly before.
Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah, I was thinking about using the slide for this to have another idea to show maybe the website or something.
Go ahead then.
Okay. So, liberating structures. Sometimes even for people who are learn liberating structures, there is this feeling of lots of little pieces that can be combined together in different ways. It's almost like a puzzle. But they are actually simple. Each liberating structure is very specific about what is the purpose and what you can do with that liberating structure. So if you get this, it's easier for you to choose from one to another. There are 33. And you can also start doing this sequence, these strings, as they call, when you combine different structures to get in a different place. But every structure has these 5 design elements, these 5 components. There are variations about these components, but this is what makes liberating structures very effective. Little things that we can tweak and adapt to make the group work better, to have better conversations. So the invitation that we'll be diving today is the one that we can change the most, and the rest you just keep as it is. So how this space is arranged. So is this conversation happening with people standing, or do you have to sit people? Are you taking notes? Do you use paper to take notes? So all these details are specified. How participation is distributed. So how can you get people contributing to the conversation? In this case, right now, I am the person speaking, I'm doing a lecture for you. So how is the participation distributed? 99% of the time it's with me. You are invited to listen. So does it work? Sometimes it works, but not most of the time. So how can we make this participation more even or open for many to many, not just from one to many? So there's a lot over here. So how groups are configured? How can you be specific if this conversation is going to happen individually or in pairs or in triads, in quartets, in quintets? Sometimes we need to have a conversation just with ourselves, the group of one, and it's very important. So this is also very clear in every structure. How do you get the groups combined and configured? And then how you put all this in a sequence, steps and times, all the steps to get the structure going. So it's all specified, and the invitation, it's where you can put your sauce. Anything else, Carolina, about the structures? Maybe I can give you an example. The impromptu networking we just did. We had the invitation. So the combination of questions for you to reflect. And how was the space arranged? If it was in a face-to-face, people they just need space to be meeting each other. So they walk and find someone to be in a pair. And in Zoom, you just need the breakouts. So that's how the space is arranged. Do you have to take notes? No, it's just a quick conversation. How participation is distributed? Everybody is involved. Everybody has a time to speak and to listen. So everybody is working, is having a good conversation. Doesn't matter if we are a group of 8 people or 800 people. And the groups, pairs, new pair every cycle. And the steps and times, 3 rounds, 4 minutes each round, a new pair in every round. So these are the elements of the impromptu networking. And the purpose, Carolina put in the chat, is to quickly share expectations and build connections. So it works. It always works. You don't have to spend time making these elements different here and invest time on the invitation. So what is the question that will spark a good conversation? This is where you put your attention. I think that's clearer. But maybe I'll stop sharing, just ask if you have any clarifying question or comments on this before we move ahead. I think I sharing the screen, we lose this visual. We already have just this visual, right? And we put it aside, it's hard to get any cue. Okay, so let's dive into the invitations. This is one thing that we discovered this year, actually, and we have been sharing with lots of people. The invitation, usually we go directly to the question itself, the question that we'll be asking. And it's kind of obvious. Invitation, the question, what's the question? But then we start noticing, with the help of some participants, that we need to give people more context about what we are going to be doing. Otherwise, it's because some structures are a weird conversation. The format is kind of weird. It's new, it's different. So some people feel they resist a little bit to get into this new form of conversation because it's different. So we need to give them some context. Why are we doing this? What is the purpose of doing this kind of conversation? So we need to give them some context before, and also we need to be very clear about the purpose of the structure we are using. It helps a lot. These two things are kind of simple, but it creates the red thread to get people into the conversation. So instead of just pushing a question and inviting them to be in pairs for 2 rounds, we say, okay, we are here in this practice. We need to get to know each other in this room. So there is a way to do this, and it's this structure, which has this purpose. We'll be sharing our expectations, we'll be building new connections, and it goes like this. And then we get into the question itself and the steps. So that's the movement. And one thing that is interesting, some structures, you don't even need to change the question itself. The question is already there in the structure, it's given. But we need to be very specific about the context and the purpose. Because as we said, it's weird, like Troika consulting. You'll be in a triad, in a certain moment, the person will be turning their back to the other 2 people to keep talking about the challenge that the person shared. So it's completely different. It's not usual. So before we get people into the Troika consulting, it's good to have a context. So for example, in this context, we are in a regular meeting. So, okay, let's use this regular meeting for some team development. And we give it already a context. It's more compelling for people to join, to buy this idea. And what for? Okay, we'll be using this structure. And the idea here is to get practical and imaginative help from colleagues immediately. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to be helped immediately? And then we go to the structure. And the question from the Troika consulting is this. We don't have to change. Maybe we can adapt a little bit. Sometimes people refrain to use help. Sometimes people change for support or some word like this. They can change a little bit, but you're not changing the invitation itself. Same thing for heard, seen, respected. So heard, seen, respected, it's one structure that gets people sharing stories about a time when they were not heard, seen, or respected, which is something also unusual, right? So imagine giving this context for people. Okay, in the next 35 minutes, will be experienced some concepts of psychological safety. So it will be a practical exercise. So I give the context, and then I invite them to the structure. So you see that the question doesn't change. For some structures, we need to work on the three levels, these three layers: the context, the purpose, and the question. But the question is so well framed already that you just have to change a part of the question. In this case, what is in red over here? So all these purple phrases are given as well. So that's part of the structure. So when you're doing appreciative interviews, we are asking people to remember a story, a successful story about something, and you'll be exploring with them the root causes of the success. So it's based on the appreciative inquiry. So the question is the same. We just have to frame what is the space you're trying to investigate with the group. So again, if you are in a kickoff of a project and we are trying to remember and share good stories about this beginning, this moment where we are all starting something fresh, we need to put this information here. So remember a story about a time when you start a project with the team, and the rest is all the same. And 15% solutions, same thing. The questions to get people in their space of agency is there. So we keep this part, we just change the frame, this window that we are asking people to look at. Look at this window. So we are trying to get you with agency to get this project starting strong. So it's just a little tweak. So again, be clear about the context, state the purpose of that structure, why we're doing this, and adapt the context, the question a little bit. Go on, Ben.
Yes, the Troik method. What does that stand for, or is that a company, or?
Oh, Troika Consulting. It's one of the liberating structures, and the purpose of this structure is to get practical and imaginative help from colleagues, and it works in triads. And you have the sequence of steps is very simple. There are 3 rounds of 10 minutes, and in every 10 minutes, one person is the client. So this person will share what is the challenge and the help that the person needs. 2 minutes. And then the consultants, the 2 other people, they will have 2 minutes for clarifying questions. So tell me more about this. How many people? Where does that happen? So they try to understand a little bit more about the challenge. And after these 4 minutes, 2 and 2, the client will put their backs to the consultant. So they will be not having a facial or any visual from him or her. And these 2 consultants will be just piggybacking on each other's ideas, creating suggestions and advice and more questions. So they'll be talking how to solve the challenge. How can you help this person? But the person is there just listening to this advice. And in the last minute, they have 4 minutes for this creative process. And on the last minute, the client comes back, turn the back, and just say what was valuable. And then they start a new cycle with another client. So 30 minutes, everybody will be a client once, and you help each other along the way.
That's
so simple.
Great. Yeah, very good
Yeah.
for perspective sharing. Thank you.
Yeah, and it happens in half an hour. If you just have 10 minutes, just do 1 round, but in triads.
Very good.
And the last one, sometimes we have to work hard on the 3 levels. We need to give people context. We need to get them clarity about the purpose of the structure. And we also need to craft the question from scratch. So this is usually we spend more time on the question most of the time, but we don't pay attention to these 2 levels, the context and the purpose of the structure. That's why we are sharing this more clearly in this way. Anything else, Carolina, for?
No, I think it's good to go to a practice. Start doing some.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you go
So-
over the good questions, or should I?
Yeah, this is a material created from Christian from the Liberators. Go on, Carolina, talk about how to craft good questions.
Yeah, there's I like the way how Christian brings it. So you think you have to be not judgmental, So it's not like sometimes you craft a question and you are kind of manipulating the answer. So then you are being judgmental. In that case, we want to not be judgmental. So just be, open and open question that you don't have a side. And also opens avenues and opens up thinking. So it invites exploration. You bring not solutions, but you bring something that sometimes it's hard to understand the question. You're like, oh, what is this? And so when you are in a group, the group makes sense of the question because it's very open. And this topic is specifically ambiguous. It defines the space of the problem, so the frame, but leaves a lot of room for different perspectives or different angles. And also you bring different stimulus for people, so then all together we can think about something and then we can answer the question in the way that the liberating structure is gonna lead you. And yeah, I think I like this allowing collective intelligence to emerge. This is very important. And
the exercise that we organize for you is this. So we'll give you access to this document, so you'll be able to edit. So there is a mini recap about what we just talked, the context, purpose, and questions, the reminders about how to craft questions. And then we have 3 cases for you to choose. So you'll be in small groups, 2 groups, Carolina, right?
2 groups, yeah.
So in your group, you just choose one of the cases. So this is a work that was done in previous sessions. So people got together with a client and they had this event with some objectives and they came up with this string. So for these objectives, connect the team, focus on the right problem, review creative solutions, and evaluate the gathering, they got this sequence. So what's the idea? You choose one of these. So there are 3 different ones. Let's say we chose this one. You just duplicate the slide, and then you put the name of your team over here. And then this is your slide. Even other group can choose the same case if they want, if you duplicate the slide. And then you decide, okay, which structure should we want to explore for these invitations? Maybe choose one that you know, or choose one that people can quickly share what it is, and then move it to the side. So, okay, what is the context we need to give people for this fall local gathering to get them into Troika Consulting? Maybe we should talk also about the appreciative interviews. And then you'll be writing here in a textual form. Now that we did appreciative interviews and let's because So you'll be creating the context, the text to be said for the group. And then you just copy and paste the purpose of the structure. You can find on the website. And then the question itself. So you have 20 minutes to do this work, and in just one structure. If you go deep in one, it will be more interesting for you than just trying to cover lots of different structures. Is that right, Carolina?
Yeah, I think it's imagine that the group is in front of you and you are giving the instructions, how you're gonna frame, how you're gonna say, how you're gonna invite people to that structure.
Yeah, like a script.
Yeah.
Any questions? Despair. So after this,
maybe just for those that are on here that don't know liberating structures, could you put the link to the website?
Yes.
In the chat box, because it does, there's the tabs across the top the second tab is an LS menu.
Yeah.
And from that menu, you can see these different templates and tools.
And just raise your hand. Who has some knowledge of liberating structures in the room? Eliane and Sherry. Okay, so I'll be putting you in different rooms just to share your knowledge.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe I'm just gonna share something here, Fernando, while you're doing that. So this is the website, and if you want to, and this is the menu, so all the liberating structures. And for example, I want the 15% solutions. Here I have the purpose of this liberating structure. So when we are talking about purpose, is this one. So each one has a different one. So this is the purpose of the what, so what, now what, for example.
Yeah.
And it's in the
So
chat.
it's in the chat, and the link for the slides is there as well. Okay. So choose a case, duplicate the slide, get your names there, choose a structure, and then work on the question. Amara.
We are not listening
I
to
can't.
you. Yeah, I cannot.
Yeah, we can hear you. Mhm. Nothing. That's so frustrating when we can't hear. Okay, I think I'll open the breakouts, and we can just jump in the breakout to help you, Amar, while you fix the mic. So 20 minutes, and see you in, yeah, let's see what you get.
Yeah, welcome back. Let's share what your work, what you did. So we have the two groups, and you're gonna say what liberating structure you choose, and then share the 3 layers. So the context, the purpose, and the question. So in the first group, Sherry, Ben, and Kiana, who wants to share? Speak on behalf of the group.
I nominate Kiana.
By acclamation, Kiana.
Kiana.
Oh, am I going?
Yeah, if you
Okay.
can.
Yeah. So we on slide 8? Yes. So we decided to use 9 whys to help structure this feedback session, or kind of getting to the objectives that are listed there about the importance of feedback. And we wanted to create an invitation to help kind of create alignment around what the ultimate goal around the overall kind of shared goal of the group is, like what the mission is, to help tease out what the values are, and then ultimately the kind of feedback loop or the accountability mechanism and why that's important, to kind of have the building blocks to start asking those questions. So how to create alignment, because we want to make sure that everyone knows the direction that they're going in, how to get there, or else feedback is just kind of feedback for feedback's sake. So we wanted to kind of steer the direction of feedback into a way that's meaningful. And then for the purpose, I just went into a little bit, but wanting to have a shared culture of openness, and so to create it, to walk away with the understanding that it's a regular kind of culture objective, and that it becomes a regular thing to share instead of just like either something that is practiced when things are either going off the rails or kind of like interjected at different times. So really wanted to create that shared culture, and then just kind of approaching it from a really direct standpoint of why is a culture of openness important, and then starting to kind of dig into kind of the 9 whys and going down that questioning. Some of the things that we talked about also were in some of the invitation to acknowledge kind of why some of those defensive mechanisms get in place that prevent feedback. So really being aware of that, and maybe if it's possible to reintroduce or have a re-invitation later on, because we also recognize that 9 whys, that's a lot of whys. There might be some fatigue by part of the way through. So just kind of reopening that space to get through to the true of the kind of to the meat of the group, and really being able to understand more fully and explore some of those answers that people have been giving. So that was our approach.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so the 9, just a clarification here. So the 9 whys, it's not that you need to do like 9 whys question. It's just a name, 9 whys. It can be less, or so it can be more. I don't know, but it's just because some people look at 9 whys and they think that you have to ask 9 times. It's not because it can be a little bit annoying. And I like the way how you wrote the context and the purpose, and the question was just awesome. So it's good like to share here. Maybe the second group can do that. Imagine that we are the group that you were gonna lead us in this structure. So invite us as you are a facilitator and we are the participants.
And just talking about the little things that can make a change. For example, in the 9 whys, it's debatable if we end with a shared understanding, but I'll guarantee that we will have a better understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's shared, if it's the same, is debatable, but for sure it will be a better understanding by everyone who is involved in this structure. So sometimes these little words can make a change. And one tip that it's in the website, it's instead of our, we are actually crafting the question to be done in pairs, which is the first step of the 9 whys. So the question is from one person to another. So the question will be, why is a culture of openness and commitment to feedback important to you and only you? So it's not about something else, it's about you. And then the person says, oh, it's important to me because of this and this and this. And what? Why is it important to you? And it keeps going to the person. And when it's the payback time, same thing for the other person. So we are talking about our work, but the mechanics allows us to inquire a person. So it's not the group or the company. Or do you see the difference? Because when it's important to our work, well, it's because my boss tells me to do feedback all the time. I feel it's annoying, but I have to do it, otherwise I will lose my job. So you put some things outside of your realm, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But when it's important to you, it's crushing.
And in the context, maybe you can put our work. Okay, we are gonna work on this because it's important for our work together here. And
That's
then
important to
the
you.
question, it's like, but what about you? And then because in the end of the 9 whys, we're gonna also get in the our work. We are gonna go to we again. So, but it's important to narrow down to you first, then we see what is important for us. Yeah, good catch, Fernando.
Yeah, nice work. 9 whys. Let's go to the tris. So Sherry, Ben, and Kiana, congratulations.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing, Kiana. And Ozgi, I don't know if I pronounced correct your name.
Özge, that's
Ozgi.
no worries.
And Eliana and Amara, who wants to share your work? And maybe we can do like a little role play here. So imagine that we are the participants, and one of you is the facilitator. So how are we gonna invite us for the tris?
Elaine, would you like to do it, because I couldn't get the last question and Amara was writing, and she cannot do the talking, so
we probably don't feel quite ready as yet, but we now understand the existing culture of feedback. We've worked on it with another activity. And now we'd like to dive into identifying what we can do to make our feedback culture better. And to do that, we will use this activity TREZ to find out what we can do to ensure that feedback gets worse, the worst possible feedback that we want to get, so that we can identify the areas that we want to work on. So our question to you would be, if we wanted to ensure that feedback gets worse, what behavior would we display and encourage?
Nice. That's the first question. If
thank
you don't
you.
know TRIZ, it's we make a list of things to get the worst result possible. And then the switch is in the middle of the TRIZ. You invite people in small groups with the question, from this list, what are we currently doing in our context? And that's the moment of, ooh, yeah, sometimes we do this. So then you can identify what you have to do or stop doing to make it better. Nice. And yeah, so you can be soft as this, and you can also be hard. Instead of what behaviors would be displayed, what can you do to make the feedback horrible and the person be fired or leave the company to never come back? You can be it's good to have a little bit of humor in TRIZ. So this question can be a little more funny and people have a good time crafting crazy ideas.
Like the accidental reply all email that goes to everyone when you'd intended it just to go to one person.
Goes
That's
public.
that's a great tool.
Yeah, but humor helps.
I like the tool of like the humor and the drama and the, oh, we can do better. And then that commitment to do better by thinking about how it could go wrong.
And also some practitioners say in some organizations, in some contexts, it's a little tricky. You need some like credits with the group to go over this edge. Can be very sharp for some groups. So don't throw it like on your first gig with a client. It can be weird. But by the time people are more relaxed and into the game, they can go onto this. Because it's about laughing about ourselves, right? As a group. We look and say, oh, we do this? Huh. We need to stop this.
And humor is everything. Humor, when we bring humor,
Humor, yeah.
humor, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that because I had a question on that. Like, are there some structures either depending on like the amount of comfort or like safety in a group that exists that would be better than others? Or like what are good like entry level structures to kind of get people used to the idea of if they're not used to this style?
I think if you don't have any like risks in the group, Kiana, if there is no like hidden agenda or conflict or something, it's off, you have to be aware. But if it's like a normal group, if things are okay, all structures very safe. And maybe it's about your own perception. Are you comfortable leading this? So some people don't feel comfortable leading 3s or 9Ys, and some people love it. So it's about the facilitator itself. About group, if it's in a normal condition, not something off going on, it's okay. But if it's a group with like political issues happening, or if it's a 10, and then to see if it's okay or not to try it. Better. This is
Yeah, but people use a lot TRIZ and with a lot of success. So I think it's also like the way you facilitate it, you know, like putting some humor on it and just go with the group, and usually groups like it. And there's an aha moment on TRIZ always. It's like when they just like, wow, I do that. Why I'm doing that? And
I always remember Gary, our friend, he said, you can never make things worse. using liberating structures in a group. You'll not get worse. Maybe things will be revealed, things will boil up, but it's not getting worse. It's just getting clear and transparent for people.
So I was describing
Yes.
that I'm planning tomorrow to use I'm familiar with 5 whys. I'm 9 whys, however many, right? And so I'm working with a very formal board that's going to include municipal representatives, councilors, as well as board members and staff of an organization. And by their existing vision and some of how they frame themselves, I'm like, I think you guys have lost your way. You've forgotten the heart of why this organization exists. And so I plan as the facilitator to dive into why and to just use the tool without invitation and become the annoying 3-year-old in the room that asks why, like a lot of times, until I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I think they need a little bit of an explanation. And in which point I will offer that invitation and that rationale for why I'm being so annoying and why I'm using this tool. So I'm just curious if the invitation has to come at the opening or if I'm going to be safe to kind of play with it a little bit and let them experience me as the facilitator that way and then offer your thoughts.
Yeah, I have seen people role play the first part of the 9 whys, this interview and the whys. Sometimes it's good for people to see someone doing it and say, oh, yeah, I can do this. And I think it's good, especially in more formal spaces. The person who did this many times, and I saw it with a good result, was a physician talking with physicians. So it's very formal, very, yeah, that kind of group. So he always does the role playing to model with the group and then invite the pairs to go and do the work.
And do it themselves. Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it's good.
And about the rationale, I think it's like sometimes some groups you can, if you know your group and you're already working with them, sometimes you can just dive into the structure first and then you can bring the rationale after. But usually what we do, it's like bringing the rationale first, because then people can be, okay, it's what we are doing. And then they go deeper. But sometimes it's good to, have the surprise in a way. And I think it's all about the purpose you have and also if you know the crowd. And then you can think about how to do it.
And another little thing, we stopped saying about the annoying child. We start inviting the inquiring spirit of a child.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, annoying.
Carolina, we have 5 minutes to close this amazing session with these amazing people.
Yeah, we just want to know what was valuable and what is your takeaway from this gathering, this 90 minutes together. So please write in the chat your answer. Thank you for coming, Ben.
Goodbye. I learned so much. This was great. Thank you all. It was so nice. Such a lovely way to spend an afternoon. So I hope to see you on the next one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Keep connected.
Very good.
Those kids got the awareness to liberating structures, and it's very exciting. Nice. Yeah. We hooked you.
Yeah, the opportunity to play in the play box with others and anticipate using LS too. So this is nice too.
Nice. More context of how to use, more comfort. Nice, Kiana. Amara connecting with more people. You're a connector, Amara. And then Liana loved to see how others frame their activity. Yeah, there are so many ways to frame it. We are always surprised about the way we can frame the same question, the same structure.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And next month we have more.
Excellent. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
See you soon.